Uh, okay. I'm the one that is talking, Abby. Okay. Alright. Good evening, everybody. Sorry, have you started recording? Okay. Everywhere is. I don't know why they laugh. Oh. Everywhere is quiet. Who should be talking?
Good evening, Ebube.
Yes, thank you, my dear. Good evening, Jerry.
Good
Hey,
evening.
yeah. So the picture that was on WhatsApp, the one that we Kelvin did for us, the logo. This was the one we chose, right? So I already removed the background, right? And let me open this hour. I cloned the repo, the project repo. So this is where our projects are, and this is what we are working with. So I created two folders, client side and server side. People should know. And the server side is for the backend people to use and manipulate basically. So, but this client side is where we have our own um our resources, what we'll be working with. So, um, I already have our logo image here. So what I did was to remove the background. I simply went to remove.bg to remove the background. Then I cropped out the name because I wanted to put the name in. I wanted to type out the name in the UI. So I cropped out the name. And I went to favicon.io so that I can create a favicon. Should I go through all of these steps now? I don't think we have all that time, but basically, um,
I think you should
basically
just go ahead. Well, if anyone gets interested and asks the question, then you can answer, and then others who watch later can ask as comments on the video.
okay. All right. So this is what we are going to be building today, right? So here we have our logo, and here we have the name Price Precision. These are favicon right here with the logo over there. And we have these something like navigation bars, basically navigation bar, this panel here. And then we have our what we want to do is to be able to where is that design that this guy did for us? So I can just do a little bit of a summary on what we are expected to do here. So basically we need an app that we can use to be up to date with prices. So we can save the prices of the goods. Oh, we can also update. I think I didn't implement that feature in this one. Save the prices of goods, update the prices of goods, delete the out of stock goods, and see the saved list. So, um, okay, well, I think what I have implemented here is just to be able to update goods, right? Be up to date with the prices. So basically, if you want to add, if you get a new stock or something and you want to add it to your list of stock, so this is like the list of what you have in your shop, probably. So there are some that are available and there are some that are out of stock. So when the user wants to add, maybe he or she bought phone charger and wants to add the name of the product, the price of the product, how many the products are, and whether or not it's available right now or out of stock. So user can click on the add new products um, button and fill out this, and then using JavaScript, it will now be appended to the already existing list. So that is it's not everything anyway, but it's a start. It's good for a start. All right. So let's begin. I'm going to be opening this in VS Code. just minimize this. All right, so this site.web manifest was generated from the favicon.io. So basically, it just gives me that our logo, gives us our logo so that it can be in the, it can be there with the title of our web page. But what we are going to be using for the rest of this meeting is our HTML, our CSS, and our index.js. Yeah. So let me just clear everything here and start afresh. So if you already have Emmet installed, Emmet abbreviations installed, you can hit the question exclamation mark to get this boilerplate. So I'm going to change the title to price precision. Price precision. And okay. So I'm just going to open this. Let me write price precision here in an H1 and open this in Lifesaver. Okay, it's coming up.
I think someone is interested in knowing how you got those plenty images and what they're for. There's an income message for you.
It's for favicon. Favicon is what gives us this icon. You can see this icon near the name of our website, near the title. If you want to be able to do that, you just go to favicon.io. If you have your logo already, you can go to favicon.io, and if you have your logo in PNG format, you can just upload it here. You can upload or drag and drop the PNG to this box and then download the zip file. So the zip file comes with all of those other images. Now these images have different resolutions, right? So that irrespective of the screen or the browser or the phone that is opening it, it's still going to give you a sharp image. So favicon is what generated this 1 2 3 4 blah 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 and the site.web manifest. So I don't I don't think we need to do that now. So can skip that part, but basically it's not a difficult process anyway. Okay, so where are we? Yeah, cool. So all right, so this is what we have so far. We have our I just wrote an H1 price precision. So before we go ahead to start doing the our HTML and all of that, there are some things I like to do first in the CSS before I start what I want to do. First of all, I want to get fonts from Google Fonts. And the font I want to get is Poppins because I like Poppins and it's UI friendly. So I already have it here. So basically what I did was to come here and search for Poppins. And then when I selected Poppins, I chose different font weights. So there's extra light. I chose the extra light. I chose the light 300. I chose the regular 400. And you can see all the ones I selected here. So since I've selected them, I need to put them into my web page. So putting it into my web page now, all I need to do is there are two methods. You can actually use this link and then put it inside the head of your HTML, or the method I like to use is the import. So I like to import. I prefer it this way. I feel it's like shorter lines of code than the head. So I'll come into my index of CSS and paste that line of code there. So the next thing I want to do is to link my HTML to my CSS. So let's do that. And I called it index.css. So index.css. Then the next thing I want to do is to link my JavaScript so that I don't forget. I also called it index.js.
There's a question for you in the comment message.
So, I mean, I don't know how it was rendered though. I shall know that when it has generated like that, you see your logo there side by side your title. Just as you have here now in these poppings, in this Google fonts.google, you can see their favicon. In Google Meet, you can see their favicon. So I don't know what's the process that is running behind the scene. What I know is that at the end of the day, I'm seeing my icon, my logo there with the name. So I don't really know what's working behind the scene.
But couldn't you just get that compressed photo and put it there by yourself?
Maybe that one works, but this is the method I know that I've been using.
Okay.
All right. So the another reason is that it also helps to render it on different screen browsers, different screen sizes, so that it stays sharp. So yeah. All right. So I'm going to copy this CSS rule so that I can apply this font family to my page. So basically, I'm going to come to the CSS and I'll say body into the body tag and paste it there. All right. So if I should check now, Poppins is now working on my page. Cool. So the next thing I want to do is add um some of my I want to add the colors to be making use of. So I'm just going to go and grab it from the one I've already done so that we don't waste time typing it out. I'm going to get my colors and um they are all root variables. So I'll explain anyway. Copy it and paste it here. All right, so these are the colors we'll be making use of. These are majorly the colors. The BG light is what I'm using for my background color. And then I have a BG white for white background. And then I have the primary color. I got these colors from the logo. Yeah, so the purple and the blue. Then we have a gray text and we have a box shadow. The reason this box shadow is a variable is because it's because I'm going to be making use of this box shadow a lot, I think in different places. So I don't want to always have to type out this box shadow. So I'll just call the variable. Then there's something else I used several times. Um, that's the border radius. So I'll just say card border radius, and that's for the cards. Okay, the border radius I'm talking about is if you look at this, you can see this border radius right here. It's exactly the same border radius with this one. So I don't want to make a mistake with that. So I'm going to put it inside a variable. So like all I need to do is just call the card border radius. And if I'm not mistaken, that was 0.7 like this. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do is add some CSS resets to the CSS to all of the elements, all our HTML elements, all the before elements and all the after elements. Basically, what I want to do here is normally HTML gives you some margin and some padding by default. So we want to get rid of all those things and give the our elements only the margin and the padding that we actually give to it. And also I'm going to set box sizing to border box. The reason I'm doing this is because when I put a margin or a padding, let it be part of the width of that element. Because sometimes if you put margin and padding, it will increase the size of the element. So let's say you gave an element 7 pixels of width, and then you now give it a margin top of 1 pixels. It will now increase the height of that width of that particular element. So we don't want that. We want the padding and the margin, and yeah, to all be part of the elements size. Let me just use that word. So other resets I'm going to get from here. I'm going to take text decoration and outline. So the reason I'm adding these ones is in case I have an anchor tag. By default, an anchor tag we have this underline. I want to take that out. And then outline, by default, buttons come with a funny outline. So I want to take all of that out as well. Then the next thing I want to do is to let me show you something. If we look at this, let's come to Google Meet now, for instance. If I keep clicking on this particular text, no matter how many times I'm clicking on it, I won't be able to select anything. I'm clicking right now and I'm not selecting anything. But if we come to our site and I click, you can see I've already selected something. So I want to remove that user select. I'll remove it from the body. So I'll say user select equals none. Okay, so I think this is this is good to go. So I'm going to save and see what's happening now on the page. All right, so margin, padding, all of those things I removed now. It's only the margin and padding I put now that is going to appear. At this point, I want to ask for 2 minutes, please. I want to use the restroom. Maybe less than 2 minutes. I'm pressed. Sorry. Excuse me.
Go.
All right, welcome back. Where were we? Okay, so we took off user select. Whenever we want to allow any part of our page to be selected by the user, we can just um change the user select for that particular element, right? So, but for every other thing that we don't want to be selected, it's going to be by default none for us now. Is that okay? All right. So let's go ahead.
Mhm.
All right. So let's look at the one we've already done because this is what we'll be working with. Now, if we look at this, we have this navigation bar, and this navigation bar has the logo and the name um of the what product, right? Yeah, name of the app, PricePrecision. So these two are in one div, and we have something like a notification icon and a maybe the user's initials or something. So we use GM. It was I and Gloria that were doing this, and Gloria's name is Gloria Maaji. So we use her name, her initials. All right. So, but before I'm going to do this. I want to be able to make use of Font Awesome because I got these icons from Font Awesome. So I'm going to go to Font Awesome and get my key from there. So once you're registered on Font Awesome, you have a particular kit that you can, once that kit is inside the head of your HTML, you can now use Font Awesome icons inside your design. Okay, so I'll click on my kit and just copy it. Is a script, a scripter. So I'll go and paste it inside my HTML. Just paste it. Okay, so now I have access to Font Awesome. All right, so what do I want now? I want to have our logo here and the name of our product or the name of our app, PricePrecision, and I want to have a an icon here and a div that's going to contain the initials of someone. But then all of these are going to be inside our nav bar. So let's do that real quick. So first thing first, I'm taking off this. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have a div with the ID with the class of container. So this container is going to hold everything inside our website. Everything in the website is going to be inside the container. Then the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to have the nav. I'm going to have the nav bar. So this nav bar is going to have two divs basically. So the first one is going to be the logo. Now div with the class of logo. And the second div I'm going to call it I'll just call it nav icons because nav icons. So these are the classes there. Now inside the div with a class of logo, I'm going to have our logo image. So our logo image, which is inside the images folder and logo.png. And let me just give it. Then we're going to have the H3. Let me use an H3 here. And I'm going to write price precision. So just look at this, please. This one here, you can see that the price is blue and precision is purple. So for me to do that, I'm going to put price and then put precision inside a span. Okay, so that I can change the color of that span. Okay, so that's for those two. And next thing I'm going to do is to have the icon for um, the notification icon. So I'm going to get that from Font Awesome. So I'll search for bell. Bell. All right, so this is the one I want to work with for no special reason, but not everything on Font Awesome is free. So I think I will stop using Font Awesome actually. It's becoming annoying. So this is, I'm just going to paste what I copied from Font Awesome, right? So when I paste it, I'm going to get the icon. Then the next thing I'm going to have is this part right here, this GM is going to be a div. Okay, so I will just have that div and I'll call it I'll just call it profile photo. It's supposed to be a profile photo, but For some reason, we now ended up using initials, me and that woman. So this time around, I'm going to use Abiodun's name. So Abiodun Shito. And let's see what we have on our page now. All right. So we have the logo, we have the price precision, we have the notification bell, and we have Abiodun as our user. Okay. So next thing we need to do now is to style it. So we are going back to CSS. Okay. Let me remove this. So before I do that, let me add something here. I want to be making use of RAM units because when you're thinking of responsive web design, you want to try as much as you can to avoid using fixed units, fixed measurement units like pixels, cm. So I'm going to be using rem, and the rem is going to be relative to a particular font size I'm going to be setting in my HTML, and that font size I'll be setting it to 14 pixels. So that when I'm saying 2 rem or 3 rem or 4 rem or 0.5 rem is going to be basically in relation to these 14 pixels right here. All right. So let me see if there's something else I'm missing. Uh, okay, so I have some other things in my body. Okay. Let me look at this. So this is our body. If you look at this body, this side very well, you notice that the body has this gray color. So let me start by styling that one out first. Let me start by styling it out. So I'll give our body a background. First of all, I'll give it a width of 100 viewports width so that our the body of our HTML is going to the body of our site is going to cover the entire viewport width of any screen that is viewing it. So that if we give a particular color to our body, it's going to like cover the entire everything in the body. If you don't do this, you notice that some parts of your body will have a different color from some other parts. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a height of 100 viewports height. 100 viewports height. So that's what that. Then having done this, I'm going to give it the background color of, I'll call the variable now. Remember, I have a variable I called BG light. This is what I want to use. So to do that, I'll do var, then the name of the variable like this. If I save it and check, you will see that you can see that the background um of my site has changed. So let's say somehow I no longer want to use a this background color again. I want to switch to dark mode. All I need to do, instead of coming here to change it to BG, to change the BG, all I need to do is just to change the value of my BG light to maybe black or something. So when I do that, you can see it's actually working. The variables are working. So return back to what it used to be. BG light. Okay. Um. Okay. All right. So the next thing I want to do is to give my navigation bar a white color, the BG of white. So that's the next thing I'm going to do now. Okay, before I actually go to that navigation bar, the container that is containing everything, I need to give it some width and height. So I'll just go to the CSS, call that particular div container, and I'm gonna give it a width of 100%. So it's going to be 100% of the body. However, if a screen that is larger than 1500 pixels, if it's going to be viewed from a screen that is larger than 1500 pixels, then I want the max width to be 1500 pixels. So that supposing you're viewing this particular site on a large screen, it's not going to span from the beginning to the end of that screen. So I'll give it a max width of um 1500 pixels, and I'll give it a margin of 0 and auto. So 0 top and bottom, and also left and right to center it. So just in case we are viewing our website from a large screen, it's going to be in the middle, not larger than 1500 pixels. So that's the meaning of max width here. So let me be sure that okay, everything is fine. All right. So having said that part, the next thing we need to do now is to start styling our nav bar. So I will call the navigation, and I'll give it a background color. I'll give it a background color. I'll use that variable again. I'll use our variable I call BG white now. Background color of BG white. And sorry, let me see what we have here actually. The white is already working, you can see, but let me see if it's okay. It's 100% of the container. So I'll set it to 100% with 100%. And okay, so that's that for now. Then next thing I want to do is, if we look at what we have here now, you can see these guys are just stacked one on top of the other. What we want to do is display them to be flex. I give them a display of flex. But before I do that, let me change the size of this image because it's somehow distracting. So I'll say nav, inside nav, we have the dot logo div, and we have the img. So I'm going to reduce the width to, let me just say 6 RAM. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, still big. I'll reduce it to 4 RAM. Okay, I think it's looking better now. So I'm going to come to this nav bar and give it a display of flex. We're using CSS flex box now. Display of flex. Let's see what that does. So you can see the div with the logo and the name, they're on one side, while the bell and the AS are on the other side. So the next thing I want to do is make them to span from one end to the other. So to achieve that, I'm going to make justify content. I'm going to justify content to space between. By the time I do that, you can see what's happening. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Next thing I want to do is give this nav some padding. So let me just give it to and see what that looks like. Okay. All right, this is okay. So now, because these two are still stacked up on top of each other, I'm going to call this div, which is the logo div, and I'm going to call the nav icons div, and I'm going to give the both of them display of flex each, such that the logo and the name are going to stand side by side. So that's the function of flex. So to do that, I'll just call nav dot logo, comma, nav dot nav sorry nav icons. I believe that's the name I gave it, and display of flex. So let's see if that works. All right, so it works. Next thing I want to do is align these items to the center because they are looking like they are not together, and I'm still going to give the same align items to center here. Centered all of them. So they're looking like they are properly aligned to the center now. And next thing I want to do is give each of them some gap. So I'll give them some gap so that there will be some space between them. So I'm going to say gap of, let me try to run. Okay, so this is what the gap looks like. Seems like the padding on the top and bottom is too much, so I'll just reduce it. So I'll say 3 rm for the side, and I'll say 1 rm on. So this 1 rm is for the padding top and bottom, while 3 rm is for the padding right and left. Okay, so this is what it looks like now. Um, okay, we can work with this. All right, so next thing we want to style is the precision and the name actually. The name actually. So price precision. So that's found inside of logo, and we have the H3 there. So the H3 is the everything is inside the H3. So we'll give the text a color of our variable. We have a particular blue text there, and then inside the nav in the dot logo inside the H3, we have a span that we want to give a different color. So give it the primary color actually. Let's see what that looks like. All right. Please give me a minute. I'll be right back. Please.
One, start.
Hello, welcome back again. Okay, so the next thing I want to do right now is I'm looking at this the color of the icon and this black. They are not I'm not really comfortable with sharp black. So I'm going to change the color of every text unless I give it a different color. So the color of every text is going to have our gray text. I'm planning it's not exactly gray anyway, but I'll put it inside the body. So I'm targeting every text inside the body unless I change it, unless I change it. So every text is going to have a color of gray text. Gray text like this. And let's see. All right, so it's no longer sharp black again. Okay, so let's see what we have here. Okay, the logo is actually smaller in this part though. The logo is actually smaller here. But I think we can work with this one. So let's look at this. We can see this background that this our notification icon has, and the background that the profile, the user's initials has. So we are going to do style that part now. Okay, so we're just going to target the what's the HTML again? Profile photo and the eye. Okay, so we'll start with the eye. So I'll say dot nav icons and the eye. I'm going to give it a background color, and the background color I'm giving to it is our BG light. And let's see what that looks like. Very tiny, not that obvious. So let me give it a padding of, let me say, 1 rem like this and see what happens. Okay, so it's now visible now. So I want it to be rounded. To make it rounded, give it a border radius of 50%. 50%, and it's rounded. So we're going to do the same thing for um, AS Abiodun, just that we are going to give it a different color. So we'll say I got a profile photo. Does anybody have a question? Can
What
you
will
guys?
happen if you give it a border radius of 100?
Uh, I can check that later. But 50% is used to round, but we can check that one just for experimenting purposes. Then Let's say whether radius of 100%. Okay. So it's not exactly it's not round. It's kind of spherical. Let's do 100. Let's do 50%. So there's a difference, right? Did I give you some padding? So let me give you padding, please. Topman, your this thing have come and start everything.
What else you
um,
do?
let me take this off and just see what's happening here. Okay, I'm just going to look at what I did before. So I'll start cracking brain again. What was that? Okay, maybe this one to 0.5. Okay, and change the color to white because now the text is something else. The background color is something else, so we'll change it to white and see what that looks like. Okay, let me increase the font weight, make it a little bit bold, say 600. Okay, then the font size, let's say 0.8 rem. No, too small, too small. 1 rem. 1.2. All right. Leave it like this. Works it that way. Actually, I want us to have when we hover around this, we have a cursor pointer. Or no need since we are not really doing anything with all those parts for now. So we'll just leave it. But just in case, for knowledge purposes, when you hover around it, the around the profile, you want the cursor to change to pointer and not just an arrow anymore. So you can just do cursor pointer. The last thing I want to do to this nav bar is to give it a box shadow. And I'll go back to the nav bar right here and I'll give it a box shadow of box shadow. Remember that I already have a variable for the box shadow. So now we have this box shadow here like this. Alright, I think we are done with this nav bar for now. So if you're wondering how I got the box shadow, there's a whole explanation for box shadow, but I don't bother myself about that. What I actually do is there's this particular place I get box shadow from, getcssscan.com. So when you go there, you can just look for any box shadow of your choice, anyone you're comfortable with. You can just click on it to select it. So let's say this is what I wanted. So if I click on it and I come here, so instead of that my variable, where is that box shadow? So instead of that variable, I'll just paste the value I just copied now from that site. So I don't. Okay. So if I do this, this is what my box shadow will now look like. So you can just do that instead of going to start bothering yourself about how to get box shadow and all those things. So that's an easy method. Okay. So that said, next thing we want to do is want to do this next part. So basically what I did was to have a this everything below the nav bar. I called it main. So it's inside the main, and then the main now has this aside and aside element for these icons and the products part. So I use CSS grid to just do to align them. So let's do that right away. Let me see if there's any.
Leave it those people. Don't let them distract you.
Okay, so we're all following then. All right, so on to the next part of our HTML. So still inside the container, remember that the container is holding everything on the page. So still inside the container, I'm just going to do a this thing here and say end of now. Never see what I'm typing. Oh, okay. So now we're gonna have the main now. So we'll just do main for the main. And inside the main we have two containers there. We have the aside and we have a div with the class of product. Cool. So I just want to arrange this. So I'll just put something like 1 and 2 here just to see what we are doing. Okay, so 1 and 2. Yeah, right here. So go to the CSS and just arrange something here. God help me, you. The laptop is keyboard backlight. Okay, all right. Our main. So I'll just call the main like this, and I'll give it a display of grid. Let me see what's happening. All right. So the next thing I'm going to do is to give it a grid template column. So what grid template column means is that you can, since we just have two parts, right? Since we just have two parts, we can now make one part to take a particular size, then the other part will also have a particular size. So I'm going to just give the first part a width of 5 rem and then give the second part a width of auto so that it will take up the remaining space. But for us to see this properly, let me give the both of them different um let me give them a background color so that we'll see what's happening. So I should give this main some height actually. Let me give it a height of let me just say 80 viewport height first. Come back to that. Let me give the aside a background color of anything. And let's see what's happening. Okay, so this is what's happening because I gave the grid template column, I made it 5 frame and auto. So this part now is just going to take the 5 frame, while the second part is just going to take the rest of the space remaining. Okay, so and I want the width of this main to be um make it 100% of the container. Okay, and make this one 90 viewpoint height. All right, so let me see what we have here again. All right, so it looks like exactly what we have here. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is change the color of these aside to our BG white. BG white. Yeah, just to be sure. Okay, cool. All right, then let me show you something else. I'm going to give the div with the background of with the class of products a background color because I want to show you something. I'll use the background color of brown. Now you can see that this is where the first part of the grid is, the white part, and then the brown part is where the oh look at this. This thing is scrolling. Sorry. Okay, let's leave it like that, sure. Maybe it's working somehow. So this other part is brown. Now I want to show you the power of gap in CSS grid. So we can also use gap just like the way we use gap when we use flexbox. So if I give a gap of 5 rem, you can now see that there is some space now between the both grids. Is it equal to what we have here? Okay, looks like it. So we can now see that there's some space there now. All right, cool. I'll just leave this at 80. Okay, so having said that, I'll take off this from there. Let's look at what we have now. We have some icons inside the aside. So I'm going to create a div that is going to hold all of these icons. So I'll just come back to the HTML and right inside the aside, I'll create a div with the class of um what did I call this? Let me say sidebar icons. Sidebar icons like this. All right, so inside the sidebar icons now, each of those icons are going to be anchor tags. Okay, so the first one is a this looks like actually we couldn't get the icons we were looking for. They were pro icons, right? We needed to be subscribers before we could get those icons, so we just got what we the ones that were free that we could use. So from font awesome, I'm going to look for a menu icon. I'll just type menu. So this is what we're using for now. So once again, I'll copy and paste in here. Then I'll have this. I want to have this a like how many more times? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So times 4. All right. So the next one we are going to look for is what's this? Carts. Just like carts, shopping carts. So instead of me coming here to look for it from font awesome, I'll just go and copy it from where we have it already. So that will just save time. Okay, let's see what we have. All right, so these are what we have for now, and this is what it's looking like. So the next thing we are going to do now is to arrange them to be, vertically organized. So what I'm going to actually do, no, is this right? Okay. No. What I'm going to do now to style them is I'm going to call these particular sidebar icons, and I'm going to use display of flex. So inside their side, we have a dot side bar icons, and I'll display flex. Let me see what it's looking like. Okay, so this is what flex has arranged it like this, but I don't want it to be like this. I want it to be arranged um in columns. So I'm going to say flex direction and set it to column. All right, so this is what we have now. This is what we have now. The next thing I want to do is to center it. Now I'm actually forgetting how I centered it, so I'll just look at what I did already. Okay. All right, so basically what I did was I gave it a padding. I didn't even see the padding. I gave it my again. So let's try with this padding on all sides. My hand. I'm not actually sitting comfortably, so my hand is beginning to pain me.
Sorry, pin it back.
Okay. Please let me know if you can hear me.
I can hear you.
Okay, so let's give some, since we use flexbox, let's give some equal gaps between all of them. Um, so let's give a gap of 1. Okay, so all right. So the next thing we are going to do now is to go and target the each of these anchor tags here. We'll target each of these anchor tags. So I'll just copy this. Let me give it a background color so that I just see where they are. I just want to see where they are right now. Okay. Alright. So I'll give them, let me give an align. Let's align of center. See if that works. Okay. Then give it a padding, each of them a padding of, let me see, one like this. Okay. Let me increase the font size a little bit. So let me see, 1.3. Okay. Let me increase the padding on this face. Yeah. I mean, this grid, this thing is too small. Let me make it 6 1. Let's increase the space. Okay. And we're going to have top and bottom of 0.5 rem, and all right. So better, and I can take off this blue background like this. Okay, so this is what it's looking like now. But I'm going to remove this color and give it color, uh, our color for the text like this. Okay, this is what it's looking like now. So all right, we can work with this. Next thing I want to do is when we hover, I want the background color to be different. But first, I want us to have an active one. I want to set one of them to be the active icon. So I'll just come to this, to the very first one, and give it a class of active like this. So I'll then come here and target the active, the aside fiber icons dot active, and I'm going to give it a background color of our primary color. So our primary color, that's what I'm going to do, and I'll make the color of the text to be our BG white like this. So let's see what we have. All right, so this one is looking like now. Okay, this one is looking like. Right. So next thing I want to do is when I hover around each of them, the colors should change to give us something like this. So I will just copy this part and say hover. So when we hover on it, we want the background color, which are basically what this one has already. So we'll just copy this part and paste it here. Okay, so when I hover, you can see what's happening, but it's happening too fast. I want it to happen with some ease, some smoothness, some transition. So I'm going to give it a transition of all. Um, so it's going to just take 300 milliseconds, ease in and out. So it's no longer happening so fast. All right. So just make this 400. Okay. That's for that part now. Let me give this very first one some margin top. Let me give you some margin top. So um there's some padding at the top, some padding at the top. Let's give it to the sidebar icons. Top and bottom. Sidebar icons is the listing. Make it one. Okay. Alright, so next thing we want to do is the product part of it, the product part of our page. And are we learning something, Seth? I don't know. I mean, I'm just repeating what you already know.
What?
A lot, a lot.
Okay.
Who know?
I don't know. Okay. Alright, so next thing is the product part. This part right here. So let's see what is inside this product part actually. So this product part, we have an H, let's say an H3 with the name of products. And then we have this div here with this white background that has a button, and we have this part here to give us the next pages. And then we have a table here. We have a table right here. So the first thing I'm going to do now is to okay. So the first thing I'm going to do now is to create the H3 and create the what's it called? What was this thing called again? The div for the table. Okay, so so H3, and this H2 we're gonna call this products like this, and then we're going to have a div with a class of table because a table is going to be inside. I'm putting the table inside a div because it's not just the table that is here. The table is here and the button is also here, and we cannot put this button in the table. It's going to go and stay at the top. So can you see these lines on this table? Are the lines visible?
I just saw it for the first time.
Okay, maybe we'll just increase it. Alright, so inside this div with the class of table, we are going to have a button at the end. A button with the what's the name of that thing? Add new product. Add new product. Okay, and we'll give it a class of BTN. So this BTN is going to apply to everything button, not just this button. So when I click on this, there's another button here. So the same style is going to apply to the both of them. So that's what we're going to do here. Okay. And then we're going to give it an ID. Okay, let's not talk ID first till we get to JavaScript part. So next we're going to have is a table, an HTML table, and it's going to have a T head, and that's the heading. The heading that's this product name, price, quantity, and status. So it's going to have a T head, and the T head is going to have a row, and the row is going to have each of them are going to have TH. Oh, this is crazy. So the first one is product. It's been a while I did tables. Like this thing brought me to doing tables. More. Let me copy and paste so that you just see what it's looking like. So you can see product. So that's like the head. Okay. Well, what we have here is product name, price, quantity. Which kind of quantity is this? Yeah. I think we should also have another this thing here for edits. like something for edit, just in case you want to change the price or something. I'm
That's
there.
your
I don't think.
quantity. That was the award among the first ones that caught my attention. You started. Even the one that is out of stock, have about over 400,000
Oh,
items
I actually
available.
actually had look. Okay, look at what I did there. See, order number. It was order number I had in mind. I don't know why I wrote quantity there. It was the order number. What is order number? Sef? I don't even
This way,
know. So product name, product name for the first one, and for the next one we have price in dollars. Please, let's stop dollars. Then next one we have order number. Since we already have out of stock, like telling us if the thing is there or not. And then the next one we have is status, as if it's available or not. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so next we're gonna have now is the T body. That's the body of the table. The T body. So inside the T body, we'll have a row as well, and each of those rows is gonna have some data, table data. So the first one we have caustic soda 7,500, blah 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 blah. So let me just type that. I'll minimize so that I'll be looking at it. So we have people should tell me what they used to sell. Oh, I don't know what caustic soda is. So the next thing is going to be the price.
right? Add now I'm it there now.
Now I mean, okay, that's the next one. So the order number, this 5 numbers, and it's available.
This
So
available here. Do we have plans to implement a way of checking how many quantities are left? I mean, I was thinking it would be better we had quantity left running and then all that other stuff. Anyway, you just go ahead, let me not obstruct you. What's the better that we learn how to implement this? Just go ahead.
all right, so this one is looking like that. So caustic soda is under product name, price is under 750 is under price, order number is under here, available is under this. So instead of me going to start typing everything, I will just go and copy it from where I have it already.
Can we have you can you just work with only that one while we generate the rest dynamically?
Okay,
Is it possible?
let me just have like two more so that
Okay.
it will give shape. Yes, we can dynamically get those values with JavaScript. Yeah, imagine. Okay, so the idea just wants to have some shape. Okay, what to do, what to do, what to do. So now
What
once
kind
you
of
start,
what kind of small place is that is causing a cost? Is that $10,000?
you said Nama meat. How do you spell Nama?
Yes. What are you doing there? It's okay. We're talking about your expensive.
The meat is very meat that they cost so. Okay, so let's tie the table. So the product, the div with the class of products. You do not see what I'm typing. Okay, so let's give it some. It's too close to the top, right? Let's give it some let's give it some margin at the top, like margin top of the line. Mm, close. Okay, that's better now. All right, so next thing I want to do is to style the H3 that is there. I want to give it a font size of 1.2. Okay. All right, that's for the H2. Then for the table, the class with the table, the div with the class of table rather. We're gonna give it a background color of once again our G white, and these are looking like right now. And let's give this thing. I'm just magenta. Magenta. Then I want to give this a border radius of our border radius. Card border radius. Okay. Then I want to give it some padding inside of the two one. Okay. Top, top, two. Oh my goodness. So, two, top, margin left of 0. Oh, okay. Alright, so the next thing I want to do is let's style our table. So the table itself, we're going to give it a, let's see this works. Text align of center. Uh, Then we want to give each of the table data some, let me see the styling I did here. Going to confuse me now. Style this. Okay, I gave each of them a height and border bottom. Let me see.
Okay, it appears we need to end here now for today. My battery just won. My battery is low. And you've taken plenty of time and you still need some more time. That's great. I'm seeing a hand raised. So please go ahead and ask a question.
Okay, thank you, Sal. Ebube, well done. You're really doing a good job. I
Thank
like
you.
your presentation and how you are going about what you are doing. And your
Okay.
presentation, self, the way you are doing it so happily. So I'm kind of appreciating what you are doing. In all of this, or all what you are doing, everything is just looking fantastic. What I want to know is this AS I'm seeing like an icon. Where is it coming from? Is it a star?